Ian. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here today for Dam Week. We're going to talk today about how to supercharge search, tagging, and content velocity. As Ian mentioned, I'm an account manager here at Media Valet. I've been with the company for about 3 years now, so I've gotten to see how metadata really empowers all different kinds of departments, industries, and use cases across any market, which I'm excited to share with you today. To start things off, I think it'd be good to get a poll up and going. So we have how is your metadata and tagging handled in your organization today? Is it fully standardized with full governance, some structure but inconsistent across teams, mostly manual and ad hoc, or maybe we don't really have a strategy? We'll give everyone a few seconds just to answer that one there. Okay, it looks like the results, pretty even split between some structure, mostly manual. We don't really have a structure. Luckily, you're in the right spot if you're looking to get fully standardized with full governance. So listen closely today and we'll have some more tips on how to break through that. So, as we know, teams are experiencing content velocity problems. Organizations today must deliver content across a growing number of channels in a growing number of different formats, whether it be websites, social channels, emails, partner portals, paid media, or internal teams. The list really goes on. They're rising to the creating challenges, but the creating content isn't really the whole issue. It's about finding and activating the right content fast enough. And that's where content organizations are breaking down. Some common frustrations that we hear from teams facing these challenges are searching for assets are taking too long, teams recreate content they already have, files are misaligned, and different teams are described assets differently. The right content exists but cannot be found. And the root issue behind all of these breakdowns is metadata quality. So a great DAM isn't just magic, it's all metadata. Many organizations expect DAM to kind of instantly solve all of their problems, and I wish I had a magic wand for you, but a DAM platform itself isn't going to automatically understand what every image or video or document contains. What actually powers the strong search and tie to DAM is metadata. So metadata describes the asset to the system so the system knows what that asset contains, how it should be categorized, where it should appear in a search result, and who should use it and when. Modern DAM systems accelerate this process through AI tagging, which can automatically identify objects, people, scenes, and text. In other words, DAM enables search, metadata powers search, and AI makes it scalable. So what we're looking at here is kind of a wide out scope of what the ABP's 2026 DAM trends listed as metadata being a top priority for organizations in 2026. Why? Because we're seeing that metadata is the foundation of a well-oiled content supply chain. Metadata powers search accuracy, filtering, asset relationships, content governance, AI discovery, and much more. So without metadata, a DAM just is just a storage library with nothing to feed off of to find those assets. But with strong metadata, it becomes a discovery and activation platform that powers all other levels and layers of content distributions within all of your systems. Good metadata accelerates every stage of the content lifecycle. On this slide, we're zooming out to show a bit of what metadata impacts on the entire content lifecycle, not just search. So starting with discovery, this is usually where pain starts to show up. If your metadata isn't structured or consistent, people simply can't find what they need. And that leads to wasted time or worse, recreating assets you've already created. From there, it directly impacts reuse. When assets are properly tagged with things like campaign, product, regions, and usage rights, teams can confidently repurpose those assets and content and use it across channels. This is where we start to unlock real scale when we get into distribution. So metadata enables you to get the right content to the right audiences, whether it's an internal team, partner, or external team. It powers things like portals, permissions, and personalization. So you're not just sharing content, you're delivering the right content to the right audiences. And finally, but not least important for sure, is governance. This is where metadata helps maintain control, things like usage rights, expiration dates, and versioning. It ensures what's being used is actually approved, up to date, and compliant so that the whole effort that you're putting into creating all these branded assets are being used in the compliant way that's consistent with your brand message in the market. So when we say good metadata accelerates content lifecycle, what we mean is it's not just organizing assets, it's about removing friction at all of these stages so that teams can move faster, stay aligned, and ultimately get more value out of the content that they're creating. And that brings us into AI. So modern DAM platforms use AI to detect objects and scenes, recognize faces, extract text within images, videos, and documents, identify logos, and generate automatic tags. This allows teams to automatically generate high quality metadata at scale. It doesn't replace the metadata strategy, but it does accelerate it. But what's better than AI? It's actually your own noggin. So AI accelerates at a lot of great things, object detection, scene recognition, large scale tagging. But humans really excel at like brand context, human nuance, campaign relevancies, internal taxonomy. The strongest DAM environments combine AI automation and a structured metadata strategy to form a scalable, unified approach to your strategy. Which brings us to the maturity model. Most organizations tend to sit between stages 1 and 2. The biggest gains in velocity come from moving to stages 3 and 4. So when we break it down, we can see that starting at stage 1 with basic tagging, this is where most teams begin. Metadata is really manual, it's often inconsistent, and usually depends on individual habits. It works to a point, but it's hard to scale, and search tends to be unreliable. Sounds like maybe some of you might be in the basic tagging from our poll earlier. From there, organizations move into stage 2, which is structured metadata. This is where we start to introduce standard fields, controlled vocabularies, and defined taxonomies. Things become more consistent, governance improves, and search starts to become much more dependable. And this is a good call out that I always like to bring up and make fun of our former, well, always Australian, but our former colleague from Australia, Baden, who would tag his DAM assets with an ATV with the tag quad. And then I could never find them because I was searching ATV. If we had a custom attribute to have that verbiage culturally relevant, that would have helped a lot with us. Then in stage 3, we have AI assisted tagging. This is where AI starts to take a lot of the heavy lifting and automatically generating tags, improving accuracy and significantly reducing the manual workload on your teams. It's not replacing structure, it's just enhancing it. Then we get to intelligent discovery. This is where everything comes together: AI, metadata, and search all working in sync to surface the right content instantly. At this stage, users don't have to think about things that are being tagged. They know where they are. They just need to know what they're searching for. The key takeaway here is that this isn't a rip and replace journey. It's an evolution. Each stage clearly building on the last, and every step forward reducing friction, improving efficiency, and ultimately driving more from your content. A good example of this is the Jackie Robinson Foundation, who we work with. The dam that they were working with was initially structured for the museum, but the Jackie Robinson's dam taxonomy was reversed and reworked to reflect how staff is actually searching for assets in the dam, which was by people, events, and initiatives. These shifts made the system much more intuitive and accessible for new users, increasing usage across the organization, but also ensuring that the archive could serve as a long-term storytelling and operational tool beyond the original scope of the project. Once the metadata was effectively set up, AI does the hard work. With Media Valley's AI face recognition, the Jackie Robinson Foundation can instantly locate images of specific individuals across time, which a good call out. Jackie Robinson had a career that went through time. We will recognize his face at all those stages. Build personalized collections for alumni, donors, and public figures. Surface previously unknown and forgotten content, and the list goes on. Metadata and AI have turned the Jackie Robinson Foundation archive into a living, searchable history that powers storytelling, engagement, and fundraising. Not unsimilar to what we've done with Telescope. Telescope moved to Media Valet from an on-premise dam to ensure the metadata was impeccably set up. After that, the result was they migrated 10 terabytes, over a million files, into the dam, and their metadata ensured consistent categorization, reliable retrieval, and instant access across millions of assets. In fact, their metadata is retrievable across their entire content workflow, from their dam through their creative tools and then back to their PIM, ensuring greater control and flexibility. But I know everyone loves numbers, so we do have some to share with you today. Organizations with strong metadata strategies report having these um, increases in their productivity for dramatic reduction in search time, improved asset reuse, fewer duplications on assets created, faster campaign launches, stronger brand governance. Metadata doesn't just improve dam quality, it improves the marketing speed. And that's what we really want to get across here. Because in the 2026 dam trends report, by eliminating the redundancies that come with all those frustrations, like versioning issues and redundant searches, dam was able to save teams a reported of 11 hours a week on average, time that can now be spent investing into creative work, campaign strategies, and innovation, rather than just repeating work that could have been saved with dam. So, how to strengthen your metadata really comes down to these 5 steps here. Um, we've talked about the maturity model. The next natural question becomes, how do you actually move forward when it comes down to these practical steps here? So, we need to define your metadata taxonomy, the foundation of your categorized content across things like your campaign, projects, regions, products, or channels. Without this, everything else becomes inconsistent. Second, standardizing naming conventions. This sounds simple, but for one of the biggest unlocks. When the team follows the same structure for naming assets and metadata, you eliminate a lot of confusion by making search far more reliable, which can be really important on cross-cultural teams like Baden and myself. Third, metadata fields require you to upload. So this is where you start to enforce consistency. If metadata is optional, it gives people the opportunity to just opt out of it. If it's not optional, you're building and strengthening the habit and the foundation of your dam. Fourth is AI tagging, and it's where you can really scale. AI helps automate a lot of the manual work, improving things like accuracy and taking things much easier in terms of content volume and time spent on such volume. And then finally, review your metadata over time. Your taxonomy shouldn't be static. Your projects aren't static. Your industry is not static. Your teams aren't static. So as often as you're revamping your go-to-market strategies and revamping your maybe your competitive intelligence, you should also be thinking about how are we searching for our assets, how are we using it, and putting in effort there. So it brings us to the metadata advantage here. So we know that metadata is the backbone of our content velocity. We accelerate. Once we go through those 5 stages of the maturity model, we can go through that and we can understand that metadata isn't just about organizing content. It's the backbone of the content velocity. It enables teams to find what they need faster, reuse content more efficiently, and distribute it with confidence. And then when you layer in AI, it starts to remove a lot of the manual friction too, right? So freeing up time for teams to focus on managing content and more on actually using it. So whether you're at the early stages of basic tagging or you're already exploring AI, or the goal isn't perfection, it is progress. So each step you take is more structured. Intelligent metadata strategy has a direct impact on how quickly and effectively your organizations can operate. Um, so with that, wanted to open up if there's any questions. I did promise Ian that I would do my very best as an East Coast girl, just talk slowly, but I do know that I didn't, and I did strike up a lot of stuff quick there. That's a good question, Rory. I was supposed to have my dog Rory on this call, and she failed to make it. But the right balance between having enough metadata and not overcomplicating it for users is a good shout. It might be best to talk to your customer success manager on like how you're utilizing your dam and what people are searching for, because we can see how your users are naturally searching for things in the dam and kind of work with you to come up with a plan to make it so that you're set up to be naturally set up the way that you need to be for that, if that makes sense. So maybe if we can get Rory's email, we can follow up with him after that. Yeah, there is also ways to bulk edit. So James asked, how do you handle inconsistent or messy metadata in existing DAM without starting from scratch? There are ways to bulk edit metadata in your DAM through categories. So that is another good support for your customer success manager. If we get Roy and James emails, I'll send a support article that will help and also connect you with your team that can help you do both those things. No more queues. Hey, well, thank you so much, everyone. I love talking, so thanks for everyone letting me talk for 20 minutes straight. Ian, is anything else to take away here?
Nope, that's brilliant. Thanks so much, Kaylee, for jumping on. Really interesting talk there about metadata. I think there was some really great takeaways from that session. Just so everyone knows as well, yeah, 12:15 Pacific time, we're jumping on with Alan Lee from the School of Business, and he's going to be discussing how kind of across departments and how across different business kind of departments in his School of Business. How they kind of approach content management and how they've changed from like fragmented workflows to more centralized, stabilized system. So yeah, please join us for that. Kaylee, thank you again so much for jumping on and appreciate everyone yeah joining us today. All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Thanks.